How's it going, everybody? This is Brett here, and I wish to discuss Cherri Joe Bates, Kenneth Maines, and the Zodiac. Okay, and so Kenneth Maines on his channel, and he's the guy who started on hunting for the Zodiac, or Hunt for the Zodiac, has had numerous Cherri Joe Bates videos that he's since produced, and the funny thing is he's left out certain things, or one particular thing on his channel the whole time. Left it out completely, and ironically what he talks about on his channel, he was left out of Hunt for the Zodiac completely. On his channel, on one of his videos, he declared that when they were doing this show, he noticed a handprint and on her pants, and even talked that recently on his last video, and getting DNA from that to my thing. But the thing is, I thought, am I going mad? How on earth has Kenneth Maines not talked about the blood on Cherri Joe Bates's pants? Am I mad? It's on this show. So we'll just press play for a bit. Hope I don't get copyrighted. Apparently I'm allowed 1 minute's worth because I live in Australia, and that's apparently the law. So let's go. Okay.
Look at that, Sal, right there. These drops are circular compared to the smears of the other areas, as if, you know, the blood is coming down. It very well could be the suspect's blood. I immediately recognized the blood pattern at the bottom of those pants that were different than the others. Without a doubt, looked like the killer's blood, that he cut himself while stabbing her. That's a game changer.
Okay, stopping it there. Again, this is episode 2 of Hunt for the Zodiac. So he, as he explained, that he noticed the shape of the blood drop was different from the others. That as if when killers sometimes stabbing people too many times, cut their hands, they don't even notice it, and the blood has dropped down onto her pants, like from there down, and so they, as the show also quickly shows, I'll fast forward here because I was going to play another minute's worth, or 30 seconds, because the last bit was just under 30 seconds. We'll play from here.
If it's positive for blood, we're going to see a pinkish color change. So...
Okay, so I'll stop that there. And just the process that, as this show says, that the technique is 22 times the method out of any other technique created in extracting DNA. And as Ken said on his show, that what did he do? That they were there hours doing this. So I imagine that blood stain got its own filter. That there's this filter, and it could be distilled water or something similar, is used in this thing, and it sucks it up like a vacuum, and this filter gets the skin cells apparently. Okay, and so and they did hours. So I imagine the handprint got done separately, but this blood spot. Okay, we'll just give it a quick demonstration.
Focusing on the suspicious blood stain, the technician utilizes MVAC suction technology, which is 22 times more powerful at extracting DNA than traditional methods.
Okay, so we can stop that there. Don't want to get a copyright. And we'll go to here. Here we go. So now we go to this here. This is a tweet from Kenneth Maines back in the day. Look how long ago that was. 2017. It says, a big thank you to all. We watched the series. We got the DNA. We cracked the code, but they did not crack it then. That Craig Bauer guy. His solution was a bit shonky. I'm pretty sure we all agree with that. And yeah, so his own thing, and plus the show on the last episode declares, we got DNA. Okay, and as I said, on the go back to his own channel, he does not talk about this blood spot, or nothing is kept totally zipped white. And he mentions, as I said, he knows a handprint on her pants. And I know at least on 2 of his videos, I say the recent one and another one, he goes, that looks like a handprint. But on his latest one, he goes, oh, the handprint could be from anyone, and maybe it is. Like, who knows, someone else grabbed the pants, an ambulance person, a police person, but they do have this DNA. So at the time, I thought it was going to be Zodiac. I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to solve the Zodiac case with this, okay? And so I had to press the envelopes. Don't mind about this. As I said, right here is Earl Van Best DNA profile numbers here to the numbers from Gary Stewart that comes from his father. This is exactly what it is. So don't worry about that. And I've been trying to, as I like to say, I got the Tom Voigt and I asked him, is this real? Okay? And I had no problems knowing that this is real, for example. So here it's got all the letters, and as I said, my ex-wife in her field of work, she liked to do spreadsheets. So I imagine that Sydney Holt did this and put like a score. These could be cells, okay? And these ones here are left blank. I can go and have a quick look to show that the ones that are blank were tested in 1997. This shows this spreadsheet is accurate. And as I said, where'd you get it from? Tom Voigt has got high scan things of the Zodiac letters and other little things like this. And it says here, DNA sample not obtained, not authentic letter. But it says they got a DNA profile from that. And as I like to say, to do with this, we'll start from here, that that's not a, like with David Toschi letter, they said, oh, it's fake because he wrote it himself because it mentions him by name. But there were 3 letters, and the next one was sent 8 days after the Toschi, and they both had very similar wording. Like, what's the odds of 2 authors pretending to be Zodiac? You could say, yep, they're both fake. But here we got ex-police chief Peggy Ed Davis. Okay, and this one is Toschi. So we got 2 letters as well using Pig and Toschi, but also both of these saying, who will play me, or who will play me. And I'll say, if Nicole, you are watching this, please send me a message on Facebook. Anyhow, throw that aside. Yes, and once again, constructed the wires the same way. And then, as I said, I myself, as I was trying to crack the 340 cipher, I stumbled across this. With this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all good children go to heaven. And I noticed the word boy in both ciphers, but especially the 340, were spelt in this pattern. As you can see here, it's a long story. The reverse F has a meaning to it. It becomes a B and a Y. And this here is 408Y, that square. That's the word boy, by the boy there. And how he constructed that is by the boy numerous times. And here, once again. So, if I have just proven the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter is correct, that means there's a very good chance all along the Toschi letter is absolutely correct. And that's all there is to it. And, as I said, I've been trying to get, I wrote to Sydney Holt, I sent her an email, I sent her lots of letters, I've contacted deep into the SFPD, the guy who was or still is on the Zodiac case, to get him to suss it out, because they say there was no partial and there never was. But also when she says, oh, there is not authentic, also that's to do with, at the time they got a DNA from outside of the stamp, and it probably wasn't even all that big anyhow. It could be contamination. And as I said again, even if I also read they got one on the Exorcist letter, not sure. But again, just like 50 cells, it's like a speck of dust. That's normally contamination. In the day, you used to get stamps, and the post office person would rip the stamp, And a stamp could have the post office man cells on it. You could sneeze, ripping stamp, so contamination's there. Even for that one, I'm not sure which is true or whatnot. But it says here, it's not my opinion, as it says, and apparently this is legit, DNA sample obtained, not authentic letter. So, and so I reached out to yeah man, they got this DNA from Riverside, and I got to someone, and I said, man, can you just see this, compare it to what they have there, and the person told me that that whatever they got is 100%, and there's no need for me to forward that to them. All right, and this person does know. So yeah, and that's all that person said about that. Let's just keep things like that. So, and then, so as I like to say, the 340 gets solved. The 340 gets solved, and lo and behold, with the solved keys after 50 years, who do we get here? Earl Van Best Jr. As they say that he, like there was an ad in the paper in the day that this guy said, write another cipher and put your thing in it. And also, this occurs in the David Oranchak's, whatever you pronounce his name, pivot site, right? And so, as I like to show here, that this name appears EV Junior ZO, and down here we've got the pivot site, and this is the site where Earl Van Best comes out. And as I like to say, with ZO, I put 408 keys in the 340. With ZO, we got this one here, the B is normal, but the rest of that, and this one here, Earl Best, is there as well on 3 different locations. This is my version. As I said, in regards to Gary Stewart, Earl Van Best ZO. That's Best VEKH. As I said, why is it a big leap that Earl Van Best is the Zodiac? As I say here, we have got this guy writing letters. This guy sent a 408 key in, correcting all the errors, long story of that, missing E above Best, and says, I wish I do not have my name in the papers. So we got E Best, technically. The 408 had an error E below it with the word Best. I do not want my name in the papers. Earl Van Best has his name in the papers. We have, I will close these down and reopen that one so I don't get lost. So here, back in Melvin Belli letter, as I said, is that a L inside the A? E-A-R-L, spelling Earl. As I said here, we go to, I'll do this one. This one here is Paul Avery. And 3 times that the writer sticks an L here where there is supposed to be no L. But are we typing Earl? Are we? And as I said, there's one other thing. There's a few other things. As I said, Earl marries a 14-year-old girl. Zodiac with this card. There's a love heart in the skeleton eye. 14 here. And has 14 above that skeleton, and also on the card switches the N, which is the 14th letter, once again. And on top of that, Zodiac sticks this perfect pattern in the 340 V's. Earl went by the name Van, right? And I was looking for, yeah, this is very interesting. And then so the 340 gets solved, okay, and so I stuck 408 keys in the 340. So then I stuck 340 keys in the 408. So it gets so confusing. In the 340, R and A is Z and the O. So if we see R here, Z. We see A, O. Z, O, R, A here. The word fun, Zodiac right in both ciphers and on letters. He wants to have fun. And ironically, next to Z, O, R, A, we got the word fun. And this one is Earl. The E and the R stays. That is 408A. And this one is the L because the Best Wishes writer, for no reason, puts reverse Q FKLM, although it was only ever used for M. And why would he add these other features? And there's more to that. So I do believe I'm correct on it all. And LVMS did not murder Cherri Jo Bates, nor did the Zodiac. And yes, and so that's where I just want to put food for thought into Kenneth Main's. Once again, as I said, so on his channel, he's never spoken about this blood thing. He's just been totally silent about that. And he always mentions the handprint. Or maybe the handprint belongs to someone else, and maybe it does. But who does the blood belong to? What's his name? Ken. Does he know who the blood belongs to? And so, and one day I'm going to share more on what I do know. But that time may be 10 years away. And nothing can be done at this point of time. Everyone who knows things, everyone knows everything for those who need to know. Have a good day.